Hello, all of my little storms on. Hello, all my little storms on YouTube. Today we are going to be continuing on with the Live 2D crash course. This will be the final episode. We are going to go over expressions, animation, and how to export it out and bring it in to VTube Studio. So I only use VTube Studio. You're gonna have to check if you're using something else, because some people use other things in order to track for doing the Live 2D stuff. VTube Studio is probably the most well used one. I just realized my Spotify is not on here. Excuse me. There we go. Actually, you know what? I don't think you need Spotify on. Fuck it, we're not listening to Spotify. You don't get Spotify today. You want to know why? Because I want to listen to my own music today. I have to wait for the ad to be over. Also, the other thing is I do get copyrighted sometimes for the ads. So, yeah. Eventually, don't worry, eventually I will have a premium subscription. I will be able to pay for the subscription so that then we don't have to listen to ads on Spotify anymore. But until that time, nope. Gonna be listening to some classical music. Some Victorian classic music. Sorry, not all you all can't hear because there are some things in here that I don't know if can be copyright claimed, so unfortunately no music for you. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into expressions. So first off, what we need to do is we need to create some more parameters. Now I didn't talk about parameter IDs, but if you want to be able to like do certain things, you would need a parameter ID. Blend shapes are a little complicated. I would say go and do a video that's more in depth because I don't even understand blend shapes most of the time. I think this just creates a more smoother transition between different keyframes. So blend shape will be like blending between the different shapes. In 3D, basically all your facial movements that you make in a 3D form. So like example, my mouth opening up and closing. That each movement of the mouth would be a blend shape. So your e, o, u would be all different blend shapes along with consonants of B, P, M, N, L, and B. So B will be, and B and P are always the same. V and F are always the same. M and N are gonna be two different. Um, and usually those get all the consonants. And then like one eye closing, one eye opening, one eye shocked, the other eye shocked. You're gonna have to do the blend shapes for each and every single one of them. So that's how it is in 3D. So that's why I'm like, if you're gonna use blend shape or you want to know how to use blend shape in Live 2D, go and watch a tutorial for it because 3D blend shape and Live 2D blend shape could be two very different things. Parameter ID, I never really talked about this, but it just is the ID of the parameter so that when you bring it into Live 2D, you can see it, and we're going to see these parameters in the Live 2D area. So it's to really kind of like add, I guess, more IDs if you want certain things to be affected. But so let me just actually do this. So if we go into edit parameter, you'll see it says parameter and then it says the name of it. And you can do that for every single parameter if you want to. That's crazy, but you can. I'd say don't do that. Don't do it. It could drive you insane, but if you want to, you know, well, this is going to be what? Star. And then we're going to do star. So we're going to do a star. Also, the other thing is with expressions, with how we're doing expressions, hold on, let me do this as one. Okay. It's going down here into expression. So the reason that, okay, the first thing that you should know about expressions, do not do expressions until you are finished rigging the entire model. I mean, you have gone through the polishes, you have gone through the refurbishments of how this thing is going to look. Everything is tip-top notch. All the model is done. Of course, our model isn't, because this is for learning purposes, so most of this shit does not work. So, just know that when you're doing expressions, make sure that you are finished with everything. And me personally, I think the best thing to do would to be exporting it out and just taking a look at it of how it looks in Live2D, or whatever program you're using, and then bringing it and then going back in and fixing anything just to kind of get those bumps and roughnesses out. Or like, you know, whatever viewer, editor, whatever that you can bring it into, and then check it out before going into expressions. And the reason I say that is because it depends on the expressions that you want to do. But specifically for the expressions we're going to go over, these are the most commonly used ways to make an expression. There are other ways to make an expression, and we're going to go over that as well. There's also a great tutorial by another person. If you're watching on YouTube, I will link the YouTube video because I actually have it, like, as a learning purposes. I will link to that video. And then I'm going to put in, probably for today, I will be linking another one, like a few different YouTube videos that you can go to in order to learn even more if I couldn't cover it correctly. And there's like one that is basically a great overarching branch, because they, in their video talking about how to do Live2D, and how they learned to do Live2D, have all of their references and all different channels, videos, everything that you could ever want, and that's how I learned. So I'm going to be probably linking their video and another one of how they did expressions. But they didn't completely talk about expressions. They just kind of went over what the expressions were, but they didn't go into detail. I'm going to go into detail. So, first things off, this expression, the way that most people do it, is called stickers. Or at least the person that I learned from, they called it stickers. But the reason it's called that, and the reason I think that a lot of people call it that, is because it is literally a sticker. It is legitimately just a sticker. So we're going to go in here. These don't have any mesh on them, so we're going to have to mesh them. So we're going to do little. I'm going to bring this down. I want it to still... Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to really be honest. The R mesh does not matter on here. A lot of people think it does. It does not. Unless you're doing something really crazy. No. So these are separated individually to each eye. So this is, you know, you can name these. I don't have them named. Just doesn't matter. Now the thing is that I want to make sure with this expression that these are right on top of the eyes in a way, or like the irises. So this star, let's make sure that this is on the right eye, the correct eye. Okay, so this one is going to go right here. But before we do any of that, because the reason being is because you have to move the hierarchy around for what you want. Now, if you want the stars to be over your eye like this, okay, but just understand that when your eye closes, that thing's not going to disappear. So you're going to have to probably rig it in here to be deformed. So if you want it to look like this, like going on the outside of the eyes, I personally like it going underneath the eye. That's why I bring it down here. And then it's over the eye, only the iris itself. But anyways, so I digress. Depends what you want to do. Now the first thing is that I want to make sure that this is under the eye deformer. And I mean, not the eye, like a whole group that we made for the eye. I'm talking about the eye itself. So not the eye, the eyeball. That is what I'm looking for. I want it to make sure that it is to the eyeball. Now the other thing is that you could put a clipping mask on this and make sure that this is only clipped to here. But again, it's like still over top of it, so because of things. But I mean, it got rid of some stuff. But yeah. So make sure it is, first off, it has to be clipped to the eye. And second off, you want to make sure it is linked to the eyeball. The reason being is because we're going to go over here into eyeball. And look, now instead of it being stationary, like it is over here. Yeah, let me just click off of this. So instead of it being stationary like it is here, it is now moving and deforming with the eyeball, which is what we want. We want it to deform with the eyeball. Now these are easy. These are just stickers. I might be like, but I want it to like look like it's sparkling or something. Well, that's going to be an animation. I will show you how you can do that. And the way that you would rig that up is you would have to do some weird shit, which I don't understand how to do. I'm gonna be honest, if you want to do an animation of looking like it's sparkling and stuff, that you're gonna have to hook up when you do, actually it's very easy to do. You just do a quick animation of it sparkling, and then you make sure that it's all rigged like this, make it sparkle, make it turn on and off. So it would have an on-off. So this is like start on-off, and then you would have another one where it'd be start animation, and then it would be sparkling or whatever it's doing. And you could separate it up for both of them so they're like blinking and sparkling at different times. And then you would just make that the thing, but it would loop over and over again until you've like taken the animation off or something. You could actually put in saying that it's a loop animation, and it'll probably loop it over and over again. So that's like one way, but I'm not going to show you how to do that. Because again, these are basic animations or basic expressions, but if you want it to sparkle, you would go, okay, I'm going to make like an animation thing, and then you would put the animation in here, and then you'd save it out as like a certain thing, and then you'd hook that up into there. But we're not going to do that. So without further ado, we can do a slight thing animation if we want to do that. So instead of doing this, so instead of doing like 2 keyframes, let's say that we're gonna do like 3 keyframes. But the first thing I want to do is actually create a mesh for this. So I'm gonna do star left. Okay. So this is for star left, so this will be connected to here. So this is under the eyeball, which is great in the hierarchy. And we are going to take this, and we're going to make it have 3 keyframes. Because let's say we want to make this a little bit special, a little bit more spicy. So 0 will be at default. So instead of 100, this will be 0. The reason being is if you have this on 100%, when you go to toggle to those expressions, it'll be turning the expressions off, not turning them on. So make sure that at 0, at your default, whatever you have your default on, your default has to be 0. 0 opacity. Because we're turning them on to be at 100. And actually, this one, oh my gosh, can you please just, okay. So this will be at 100, so it'll just like blink into 100, but at 0.5. So it's gonna be a very fast reveal. But instead, I'm gonna make it go like bigger. So it's like getting bigger. So it's like, oh, it got really big, like, oh my gosh. And then it settles back down. So when it does it, it'll do a little pop and then settle. So you can do something like that. It'll be a kind of animation, but it won't be like a sparkly animation, but it'll be like a cool reveal, and then it will stay on 1, and then it will move around and stuff. So it's just kind of like a cool effect to make something pop out. Some people also do like stickers around their head, and they make it be like a moving out animation, and well, non-animation, but they just like have a parameter set up to where it looks like it's being animated, but it's not really animated. It's under this particular thing, and when that gets activated, it does all of this. Or like, it'll move based on the keyframes from one point to the other. So it'll still be set up like this, but it'll just have a bunch of point keyframes to make it look like an animation when it's just moving parameters from 0 to 1. So the person that I'm gonna link down in the YouTube video, they kind of give you an example of how to do stickers like that. They don't go into detail, but it's just creating one parameter, setting up the keyframes, and doing everything. And you can have a whole bunch of different deformers to create the animation or the keyframes that you want in order to make it look like it's an animation, but it's not a full technical animation. Anyway, so now we have this star going on and off. Okay. That's perfect. That's all you need. That's it. You're done. That's an expression. That can be an excited or star eye. I don't care what you make it. But that is an expression. That's done. And that's all you need. That's all you need to do for an expression. That's it. Now, there are some other things that you can do. So we're going to go have... So this is something that, again, the person that I'm going to be putting down the video is a person who's done this. So let me just turn this star off for the time being. So let's say that you want your expression to do a half eye. Now with my rigging and how I did it, I can actually get to a half eye on my own through my own expression. And usually most people can do that with their own expressions. So usually you don't have to do this. But actually, let me actually edit this and let me call it instead. Let's call it angry instead. Okay, so let's say we want an angry expression. We don't think we can do that kind of angry expression in our own ways. Well, what you're gonna do is you're actually gonna go up to where the brow is. Yeah, we only did like one brow, right? So you're gonna go up to the brows, do whatever you want to do with the brows, and then we want this to be angled as angry, like we're upset. And what we can do I thought there was a way. No. Man, how did they do this? I don't want to create a folder. They were able to take the keyframe from here and copy it. Let me just say. Oh, I know what they did. I know what they did. Okay, so let me zero this out again. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take whatever you want. No. I don't think this will work because, anyways. So you're gonna take that and you're gonna keyframe it. So we're gonna go and keyframe it. So at 0 will be nothing, but when it gets to 1, it's gonna lower the brow and it's gonna do this. And then let's see. 0. Okay, so you have to put all the different things. You have to put all the different things in here. So we're gonna add here. So then, when this gets down to here, we're gonna go here. We're gonna say lower the brow, and we're gonna make it do this. Now, there was a way that they were able to, like, copy and paste it, but I don't think I can do that. Yeah, it's not working. Forget I said anything. I think they did it better in their video, honestly. I don't know how they copy and pasted it. I'm not even joking. They were like, oh yeah, you just go up here, you just go into the area that you need to go into, and it'll do it for you. And then you just copy the keyframe and you paste it. And I'm like, what the? Now I can't do that for some odd reason, because of course I can. Yeah, it only says replicate parameter, but that's not what I want. That's weird. Maybe they got rid of it, because I think she was in an older version. Yeah, technically you can move your stuff, and you would have to keyframe it, but it seems to not be working, which seems a little strange that it's not. But I think it's because when you keyframe it, you have to take it like the exact position. So I think the only way that you technically could do this yeah, you can't even do it from here. Yeah, there's no way to do it. I don't know how the fuck they did it, that they were able to do it. Because I literally can. I can't just like say copy and paste this. Unless it's up here. Paste form selection. What the heck is options for paste form selection? That is weird. Okay, I don't know. I don't know how the hell she did it. I'm not even joking, because all she literally did was just like, oh, let me just move it to here, and then there, and then copy and paste, and then she doesn't explain it. I'm gonna be honest, that person is really bad at explaining things. She just says, do this, do that, done. And it's like, how did you do that? And she doesn't explain it. And then even in the comments when people ask her, she still doesn't explain. She's just like, just look at the video. And I'm like, you didn't explain it in the video. You just said do this, do that, and then you're done. That doesn't explain anything. Yeah, she's great for like doing overview, but she's not great when it comes to specific things. But yeah, so you technically could do it by like, you know, taking expression and then putting it in here. Um I think a way that you could do this is you could say replicate parameter is not going to do it. You'd have to replicate the parameter with the freaking things. Yeah, I don't know how the hell she did it. You're gonna just have to figure that out on your own. But you can do that. If you want your thing to be angry or have an angry form or do whatever you want, you can do that. Now, another expression that you technically can do is like a pout or something like that. But the easiest way to do that in any form is just move the mouth to make it look like a pout. But some people, when they make a pout, they make it like a squished in face. And you're gonna have to not only edit the mouth being squished in, but also everything underneath to be squished into a smaller mouth. And you're going to be having to check through on the mouth opening and closing if it's fucked up at all. So you're going to basically have to make sure that the mouth works outside of it doing the pout and inside of it doing the pout. So that means that this, you know, let's say that we want to put a pout in here. So like, let's add a new parameter. Let's just call it pout example. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to do, you know, 0 to 1 because it is a turn and on and off. And we're going to go to the mouth itself. And we're going to click on all to do with the mouth. Right? Okay, cool. We're going to add it in here. Oh, we're going to add it in here. We're going to go here. We're going to go here. And we're going to make it look like it's pouting. Now, as you can see instantaneously, there's a problem. There's instantaneously a problem. So you're going to have to move the entirety of this to be squished in around the new mouth, and then you have to make sure it works. Now, some people, what they do in order to avoid this is they change the texture of the mouth. So they have basically a regular mouth, which this would be. So this would be just like the regular mouth. And then they would have like pout top, pout bottom. And it would basically just be the pouting, like drawn to look like the pouting. And then it would just be a turning on and off. So basically how the star animation, no, not that. Basically how the star animation would look with turning on and off. So that's one way that you can also do it. But nowadays with how things are advanced, you technically don't need to do this, especially if you have like an iPhone tracker or something like this. Usually you can just be able to put those keyframes within like the mouth open and mouth form. You can just add more keyframes to make it do that stuff. So to angle your mouth to go like up to the side and up to the other side, up and down. Well, you can't put your mouth down, but you can put your mouth up to make a little like quivering sage look. You can do all that, especially with iPhone tracking now. I don't know because I haven't rigged a model that does that. I will say with my new body type that I'm working on, it will be able to do that because I will rig it to be able to do that, and then I will test to see if it does that, especially with my tracking. And if it does, well, cool. If it doesn't, well, oh, cool. It's there for when I get better tracking. So, so it just depends on what you need to do and how you need to go about doing it. But the more, I'm going to say this, the more parameters that you have the more keyframes that you put in that parameter, the more work you have to do. So be at mind with what you feel that you're physically capable of working on and what you're physically capable of doing. Especially if you're beginning, don't do so much. Do like, like me. Like I'm a little chibi model. To work on a chibi model. Like every single rigger that I've ever talked to, every single artist that is also a rigger that I've talked to said that their first ever model that they made, that they worked on, was a disaster because they didn't understand anything, and then they worked on a chibi model. And then they're like, okay, a chibi model is probably the thing. So learn from our mistakes. Don't hop in trying to do a full body model like this. Do a chibi model. I'm just using a full body to show you everything that you can do. But just take all of this information, apply it to a chibi, understand how to do a chibi model, and once you understand how to do a chibi model, you can understand how to do a full body model. Because you're going to take those same techniques that you learned in doing the chibi, apply it to bigger, and maybe do a few more extra things and experiment. The best thing that you can do within Live2D rigging is experiment. Just literally make a model that you don't give a shit about. Like literally don't put your heart and soul into it. Trust me, don't put your heart and soul into it. And fuck around with it. And experiment and just try new things, try different things. And that's the best thing that you can do in rigging and when you're learning, especially when you're learning. Just literally fuck around and find out. Yeah, maybe that's what I should call this stream, fuck around and find out. Okay, anyways, so without further ado, like, cool, we got expressions done. Like, let's say we have this full thing, like it's, let's see a disaster. Oh, look, it's so beautiful of a majestic model. It's not, it's okay. That's not the point. So it's a full, beautiful, majestic model, okay? It's great. It's amazing. It's got a nice little extra star on it for some reason. Anyways, so how are you going to take this and export it out? Well, remember how I said that we, needed to do this one? So here, let's do, oh yeah, all these aren't added. Let's just say add texture, no. And let's just say, there you go. Alright, so remember this texture atlas that we created like back at the beginning? Yeah, you're gonna need this. So the only way that you can export anything out of Live2D is if you have this texture atlas done. Now, no one explained that to me when you're exporting out. Not one person said that you needed to do a texture atlas. No one. I have watched hundreds of beginner videos, and not a single one of them tells you that you need to do this. Not a single one of them. Just so you know. There might be, okay, I'm gonna be honest. There probably is some out there that do tell you, and if you do tell your audience when you're doing a beginner tutorial that you're supposed to do this when exporting out, kudos to you. Because I had to figure this shit out on my own. Because the thing is I didn't know what a texture atlas was. And even reading, like, it just said, oh, and do your texture atlas. And I was like, where's the texture atlas? Where is it? So where the texture atlas is, where the icon for it is, once this is all done, um, is just right here at the top. Hold on, let me process. It's just right here. Okay. It's right here. Texture atlas. If you've ever done 3D work before, it is literally like a UV map. What a UV map is it's basically in 3D we call it unwrapping or UV wrapping. And basically, if you've ever wrapped GIFs before, imagine that you have a box and you have wrapping paper over it. Well, in 3D work, you have this 3D box and you have wrapping over it. With unwrapping and UV unwrapping, you're supposed to take that wrapping paper and very delicately unwrap it and flatten it out back to its flattened form. And then the UV unwrapping would be where you put all the painted textures and everything. And then that painted texture will be able to wrap itself back around the 3D object in order to create any texture of a 3D object. So if you literally look at any game, all of the art on it is a flat 2D plane that is wrapped around it very beautifully. This texture atlas kind of works the same way. It's a whole bunch of flat areas. You see all of the different stuff and everything. You can mess around and organize this to what you want to. Honestly, you don't need to. I will say I will recommend that the texture size that you use, this is a thing from 3D. It applies to 2D as well. It's what I'm currently using. Make sure that the texture size is 4K. You're streaming at 4K, you're working in 4K for any videos and anything that you're going to do, you're gonna need it to be at 4K. Now you can make it higher if you want to, but 4K is just fine. I'm gonna exit out here. And so that's a thing that you need to do before you even begin to think about exporting it. Now, when you are exporting it, yeah. Okay. So let me just, I just needed to remember. I haven't exported out a model in like a while, sorry. So when you're exporting out, you click on export for runtime. Runtime just means that it's going to be rigged. And you're going to export it out as an MOC3 file, this one. It's going to come up like this. Honestly, you do not need to change anything. Do not touch anything. And I mean that. Do not touch anything. Leave it as it is. And you're going to click on OK. And then it's going to export to here. I'm going to just put this into a new file and say export. Because we're going to be doing some things. And we're going to go in here. And we're going to save it in here. So make sure that that is all good and okay. And you're going to say save. It'll take a minute because it's saving everything out. It's making sure that we got all the rigs, because this will get your rig, your all the images, all the deformers, all the physics, and just basically the entirety of everything that we just did is in here. And it will pop up and it will show you everything that's in here. Good. You want it to have this. This is all of your textures. This we're going to go over. This is okay. This is okay, and this is okay. Yeah. Alright. So, the thing is, you can't bring it in right now. And you might be like, what? What do you mean I can't bring it in right now? I'm gonna be honest with you. You cannot bring it in right now. The reason being is because with LIVE2D, you get a secondary thing. And it's called Cubism Viewer. And what this wonderful little thing does is you're going to take this model file. So I know it's really hard to see, but under the MOC3, you can either click on this one or this one. Doesn't matter which one you bring in, but make sure it's the model JSON file. Make sure it says model. You're going to drag and you're going to drop it in here. And the reason we're doing this is because you want to be able to make those expressions toggleable, right? You want to make sure that these expressions are toggleable. I don't know what's going on in here in certain things. It doesn't matter. So what you're going to do is it's gonna open up in here. You know, you're gonna be able to do all the other cool things. Oh, cool, looks great, fantastic. You're gonna go up in here, and you're gonna click Add Expression. Now, if you have a pose, that means, like, let's say that you want your character to put their hand on their hip, or some art character or some art VTubers have their hand. That would be a pose. But we're doing expression. So it's going to give you a cool thing. It's going to say, please designate the file and the file name and the expression name. So we're going to call this star. And we're going to also call this star. So we know that they're the same thing. And then when you click into expressions, oh, look at all of this cool stuff that you get. Cool. Doesn't matter. The only thing we care about is the expressions down here. When this expression is going to happen, you want it to be to 1. Okay? When you want this expression to happen, you want to make sure it is turned on to 1. And the other thing is that what somebody does is they turn on all of the expressions. You don't really need to do that. You can if you want to. They do it in case something breaks. So you can do it if you want to. You don't have to. Now the thing is, with VTube Studio, you cannot do multiple expressions at once. That means that you can't have stars and heart eyes at the same time. You can't have the shade come over your face and have something else. Like, you're gonna have to probably create those custom expressions, but what I do is, like, I have all the expressions done, like, you know, my star, my heart, my dread, my all of that, and I have it all done, and then I can create, like, little custom ones by just turning them on to when I need them. So, for example, for my re-debut, I do have a yandere face, and how I did that expression is I just combined 3 expressions that I made, and I just turned them all on for that singular expression. So it is a little bit, you can become a little creative in what you want to do. So that's really cool. So anyways, that's what we're doing. So now we have this done. We're gonna say, now let's say we got all our expressions done. Cool. we want to export them back out because they're not going to save. When you click save, they will not save. So what you're going to do is you're going to say export all expression motion. Now, if you have a pose, you're going to say export pose. And I think you have to do that for every pose. So export all expression motion. That's what you're going to click on. It'll pop you back into wherever this was, and you say, wait, what? No, all right, you're being weird. Here. We're going to save the model. Let's save this, yes. Now let's see if this exports. What the hell? It's not exporting. Maybe I have to do it like that. No, wait. Why is this expression not exporting? Export all. Deselect folder. Yeah, here. Oh, that's weird. I don't know what I did, but you're supposed to click on export expression and then it'll export it. I don't know what was going on. It worked. But mainly you're supposed to do file and then export all expressions. And save this. And also make sure that you save this one out because it will be able to access that. Cool. We did what we needed to do. Now we can exit out of here. We can exit out of the viewer. And cool. Let's go into LIVE2D. So excuse me as I show you this. We may have to back out of things and stuff, but that's okay. But basically what you want to do is when you want to get a new, I'm glad I have no icons on here. When you want to, here, let me just, hold on. Wait, set it here. So let me just move myself over here just really quickly so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So when you want to import, when you want to import a model, you go import your own model. And you're going to open the folder. And then you're going to click on whatever you need to click on. You can add a new folder. That's what I do. You just add a new folder. Name it whatever you want. And then what you're going to do is, let me pop open my other folder. What you're going to do is you're going to go into the file that everything is exported out of. I'm going to go on my chibi model here. So you're going to take all of this, and I mean all of it. Please take all of it. And you're going to basically copy and paste it into whatever file that you want to put it in. Okay? Cool. So yeah. And make sure you do take all of it. You need all of these. Okay. The other thing is you can add a picture in here. So if you want to make like a little icon picture so you know what is what, you can add that in here in this folder as well. And then you just say, okay, and then you're done. Now the model will not pop up in here immediately after you do that. You're going to have to close out of VTube Studio and open it back up again, and it should be there.
Ahoy.
Ahoy! We just went over, oh my gosh. We just went over how to do expressions, and we just also went over how to import it in. So if you want to see it, well, I guess you're going to have to catch up with it when this thing ends. But anyways, without further ado, you just came for animations. But actually, for how to hook up expressions. So, let me just quickly. So, how we did an expression is we literally just. Oh, excuse me. We made a little parameter and a deformer and then just turned it on and off, and that's it. And then you just make an expression in a viewer, a different viewer. Because when you get Live2D, you have this viewer, and that's how you turn your expressions on and off. It's literally you're going in here and saying, hey, make sure that I am able to make this toggleable. Animated expressions. We did go over animated expressions, but that is a whole different hookup that we're actually going to go over in when we're doing animations. You can technically make it quote animated because it will go from 0 to 1. So you can put a bunch of keyframes in here to make it look like it's animated, but it's not. This isn't animated. It just does a little bounce, and that's it. I slept 10 hours a day yesterday. Hey, you got that con burnout, man. You got that con burnout. I'm gonna be honest. But anyway, so we were just talking about how in your folders. Okay, so I think I need to do this over again. But you get this cool viewer thing. And when you export things out, you have to make sure that the expressions are all done in here. So I'll just show you really quickly with how we did it. Hold on. Do. I'm going in here. I don't need that. Boop, 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 boop. Oh my gosh, I have so many folders for things. Eh. Eh. That's how I feel. Hear me squeal. Anyways. So I made like an export file, and we made this little star animation by literally taking this, putting it in here, and then just telling it, hey, turn on this animation. So here, let me show you in here. So you have to click on the model, and then, yeah. This is also technically how you hook up, animated animations, is by literally saying add expression, and then you create an expression folder, and then you go down here and you just turn it on, and that's it. And then you have to do file and export it. And you just say export this. You can also do an export model settings, but literally you can just save this and make sure you save it with this so it knows that it can access these expressions, or else you're gonna have a problem later. And then you just import it to Live2D, and that's it. So, how do you hook them up is the question. That's the true question that everybody asks. So, you go into settings, and holy shit. Yeah. Well, now you can kind of see my behind the scenes. So you go over here. Excuse the hotkeys that are already here. This is for you guys to do fun stuff with me. Maybe I'll cover that in a thing. But anyways, so how you add an expression is once you bring in all of the stuff from the folder into when you put it into VTube Studio, is you literally make it hold on. Yeah, here we go. Set or unset expression. It will be this one. And you just select that. And then and then whatever expressions that you have, it's going to be this file. Which is, let's go back in here. Oh, hush. Which is, I should have kept this open. Which is going to basically be this file, which is, it says star on it, and you do this for like anything that you want to do. Now these are sticker animation, these are sticker ones. This is not for animation. If you want it to be animation, well, that's going to be a different thing. So when you're doing in animation, it is play animation that you're going to select instead. And look at all these cool other things. Cool, awesome, great. So you're going to do a play animation or change idle animation. So the change idle animation, that's going to be like you want to hold something in your hands, or you want to because play animation will be like doing a wave and then putting your hand down. Change idle animation is changing this default animation to changing this, you know, my idle, which is this, to something different. You can technically still do it with this expression because you can make it like a keyframe movement thing. So it depends how you just want to do it. So that's for animation. It'll be a motion 3 data. And you just set it up like that, and then you put whatever keys that you want to do, whatever situation. You can make it a gesture trigger, so like a surprise, or whatever, just whatever you want to do. It depends on what you want to do. But yeah, so that's how you set it up, and there you go. You're done. You have a LIVE2D model now. Great, cool, awesome. You can do whatever you want with it. Yeah, this is gonna be a really short stream, which I do not mind at all. I've been doing like 5-hour streams. I need a short stream, man. At this point, I just need one. So anyways, so we're gonna go into animations, which no one talks about very much. Actually, without further ado, let me just save this, and we're gonna close out of here because we don't need this model anymore. You have it rigged. It's all done. I'm gonna have a nightmare trying to undo everything. Well, I'm just probably gonna just make a new model, honestly, because of course I put myself through that torment and torture. But anyways, without further ado. How do you do animation in LIVE2D? That's something that I had to learn all by myself. It is not hard to know how to do it, but it's not easy either. I'm going to be honest. First off, you're going to have everything that you want to move separated. And I mean, every single thing you want to move has to be separated. If it is not, you're going to have problems later. So, I have so many things separated in here. Now, the thing is that you're still going to need to make a rig and parameters. You are still going to need to go through the whole rigging, the whole parameters, all that stuff you're going to need to do. I cheated a little bit here, and I just literally took my head and basically made an export of my head, like exported it out and brought it in here in order to be able to do stuff. So yeah, just so you guys know that I kind of did cheat a little bit, but the only reason being is because I had to do the parameters and I didn't want to do the parameters again for it. So sometimes you just gotta pull the punches, you know. You do a little cheat here and there. But anyways, so make sure your things are separated. You don't need to worry about shading, highlighting, all that stuff unless you want to do something crazy with animation. But because this is super basic, you don't need to worry about that. So yeah. So how do you get it from here over into here? Ah, yes, the fun job of separating everything. And when I say everything, yes. Oh, Spike your Fox. I did a thing. So the thing is that for my birthday, which is in November, I want to do a full rebrush on my model, but I'm starting to think that maybe I should save that until later on to do. I don't know. But I'm basically remaking my model again. This will be the third time I've remade my model. I'm not shitting you. I'm not gonna do it for my debut. It'll be for like a rebrush sort of touch up sort of thing where I just want the model to be like a lot better than what I made. Because I made that model like 3-4 months ago. And now this one I'm making is like, I'm more advanced, so I know more things I can do. I'm more knowledgeable. I got knowledge. Up here in the Santa Monica with knowledge. No, I don't live in Santa Monica. But yeah, I did a thing. I just didn't like how my body looked. It's mostly the rigging is fine. The body is just it's not what I want it to be because I want it to be a reflection of how I look in IRL with like how I just have really broad shoulders and really I'm just a wider person like normally. I'm just kind of built like that. I'm built different. Fluff up my tall my fluff up my tall and added some my tail. Ooh, you flipped up your tail and added some expressions. Ooh, that sounds nice. Yeah, I do hope that when you go over this, but yeah, so so yeah, you do have to rig everything. There's so many things. I'm gonna be honest. Somehow this took me longer. It took me longer to make an animation for the model. And these are simple. They're super simple. But it took me longer because I had to like make sure that all this stuff was separated, that the animation that I wanted it to eventually be was going to be all done. So basically, you set all the keyframes for the animation up already. And then you actually have to go through the cycle quote animating it. It's just telling it, hey, turn it to this keyframe at this time so that then it does whatever it needs to do. And that's basically what animation is. So let's go in here and I can kind of explain it. So first things first is when you have this, you want to, when you switch over to animation or doing animation, it'll be like an untitled file. And all you'll have is basically your model. And what you're going to do when you're down here, there's going to be nothing here. Everything here will basically be blank except for showing your model. You're going to take this, drag and drop it into the timeline here. Drag and drop it into here. And this will have all of your parameters that you've made. So it's kind of like super lay on this. I was able to train some cards through his. Oh, goddamn. Super late on this. Oh, Jose. Yeah. But anyways, so you grab and you drop it in and you do all that. So you basically make all of your rig and stuff, and then you drag and drop it in here and do all your cool animations that you want to do. Which is great. If you're doing something with your model specifically, make sure that the dimensions of the size of this is the same as your model. So when you drag and drop it in, it is like a perfect size for your model. And yeah. Now you can create GIF animations in this, or GIF, however you pronounce them. So that's how most people do their emotes, is they use this. And I will say I have, I think the only emote that I have that I did it with two. I did it with these two. Chat this. Those were the two I did the animation in Live2D with. So yeah. I mean, again, super basic, super simple. They're not that difficult. So anyways. So how do you do nothing like a GIF and like GIF and peanut butter? Yes. So you might be like, how do you do a whole animation like this? Right? You might be like looking at all these keyframes and you might be like, what the heck is all this going on? Well, here, we're gonna go here. So it's basically just going, if you've ever done like animation in Adobe Premiere or in After Effects, it's literally kind of the same in that you're just moving this parameter to a certain position at a specific time. So you go to your specific time that you want, and then you move that animation. Now, this is milliseconds, this is seconds, and this is minutes. Okay? And if you want a longer time, here, let me move myself. Let me just move myself over. Let me just like literally move myself over because I need to be short. So if you want a longer time on your animation, you're gonna have to come down and it's gonna say start frame, number of frames, and you're gonna click on duration.
Mother, WrestleMania and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series were next to each other. I was expecting some players to pin each other in the ring while summoning blue eyes. Would have made them a lot of money and I would be rich. The opponent summons Dark Magician and body slams them. That's game over.
That is game over. Oh my gosh, that would have been awesome. Oh my god, just imagine Yu-Gi-Oh! And WrestleMania right now, like actually happening together. Like, I mean, like, together, like, legitimately, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Bruh, I just realized, WrestleMania! Guys, I have an idea! Yu-Gi-Oh! Get the nerds into it! Anyways. You're gonna see number of frames and duration. Duration is just how long you want it to be. God, Mommy Wrestler was, oh my gosh, Mommy Rhea, oh, yes. But anyway, so you want it to be there, and then frame rate. If you're doing like animation, like usually this is 24 frames. Default in Live2D it's 30 because they're going off of frame per second in like games and all of that. So just so you know that. It doesn't matter, honestly. Mommy Rhea. Oh, also, when you bring in a thing as an animation to do animation with, it's gonna ask you if you want it as a video, if you want it in SDK for Unity or SDK others. I think if you're doing there's a wrestler really called that. Yeah. Well, no, I think her name is just Rhea, but everyone calls her Mommy because she steps on you. I think that's like one of her moves. So she's not full named. I would be surprised if she's actually named Mommy Rhea, because if she is, she's capitalizing on something. You know she is. Okay. Fox, that's so yeah, but anyways, so if you're gonna be rigging like motion for like motion, not her actual name is Rhea Ripley. Oh, okay. That's what I thought. We'll just take a drink. If I can make you spit out your water, I know I've done a good job as a comedian. But she's on TikTok. Who's so you could call her my. I could call them Poppy. Hey yo. Hey, there is no gender with Poppy Rhea. Oh my, why does Poppy Rhea sound like like as if I'm going to be sucked on into Papa Simulate, the Papa Pizzeria, man. Who remembers Papa's Pizzeria? Damn. Anyways, so I think if you're gonna have it as motion data or something like that, I think you have to put it out as an SDK something instead of the regular. She's like, oh, Peep Daddy. What? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know she definitely do be capitalizing on it. I mean, I don't know if you know, but wrestlers don't get paid anyways for what they do as their work, and they even don't get medical insurance, so they gotta get money for the medical insurance somewhere. Kudos to them for trying to make money in another market, because technically, they don't get paid enough to do what they do. But anyway, so when doing an animation, it is just if you've ever known the basics of animation, this is literally time and pacing. You've already done all of the other legwork. It's just timing and pacing. So how long should it take for this head to pop up? And then I also did secondary motion with putting to make the hair jump because, it's being I'm popping up, so it should look like my hair is bouncing because I popped up. And yeah, that's what you do. There's that song that goes, I can do both. What? There's a song? I thought it was just Miguel and Julio from fucking what was it? El Dorado just say both. We can do both. That's all I picture when I hear both. Yeah, we can do both. But yeah, so all of it is just timing and animation and just making sure that the parameters are set to what you want to be. So, here I have everything collapsed down on top of itself. So it's basically just me moving all the parameters to what it is. So it's basically just rigging and doing an animation without doing it live. Because technically, me doing all my facial expressions and all of this is all animated if you talk about it that way. This is live action animating if you think about it, because I'm moving around a rig with my face. This is just doing the same thing I'm doing with my normal LIVE2D model, but having it set at a certain time to do a certain thing so it creates an animation. And you can make, oh my gosh, what did you share? What is that? But yeah, so you just make your animation to what you want it to be. And just have fun. I don't know if the clip will send, but the cameraman was having okay. But yeah, so it's all about moving and timing. And it's very Very simple to do any animation. And just rig it and animate it. Sends me to the main Twitch page. Ooh. Well, I guess it doesn't work. Now the other thing is that you can actually add different you can actually add different you can create more scenes. So you can go up here to create new scene and you just create it, just name it, and there you go. You can also copy selected scene, so you can copy this and make it a second scene. You can insert a scene, and you just have fun playing around with doing animation. Yeah. And yeah. And if you're doing like I guess I'll pull up the one. Where's the Anya? There you go. I think this is the animation file. No. Here you go. So yeah. Ignore how this looks. So for this one, it was a very, very simple animation. Because all it is me moving myself. So moving this. So you see that, yes, it is an Anya face. And then I wanted the door to slightly open, like as if they're pushing the door open and peeking out even more. So that is the premise of it. You can put super easy basic animation where it's only like 2 things. And then you're just moving something. Just making a parameter and doing a deformation to move the door open and close, and that's it. There you go, you got an animation. Now you might be like, but I want to put this animation out. Okay, cool. You want to export it out. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. So, because this isn't, you can export as a motion file. So this file, export motion file, so export motion file is for exporting it out as that motion so that, you know, like let's say you do a wave or something like that, this is what it's for. That's what exporting out a motion file is. Or like your tail wiggling behind you, that's what an export motion file is. So you're exporting out the motion file. Now, you can put your tail wiggling back and forth as a parameter instead, and then just have it be a looped parameter. So you can do that way. But if you want to make it like animated, or like have it be instead like animation, like let's say that you want it to wiggle really fast, then yeah, you could technically put that as motion data. But this is like, need to learn how to do that, the loop. The best way I can tell you of how you can do a loop is literally copy, I think here, let's go into Live2D and actually look and see what we can do with this. Nope, not that one. Settings. Here. Oh, interesting. So let's say that this is to do play an animation, right? Yeah, if you want to get it looped, I think what you have to do oh yeah, you can't have them at the same time. You want to be crying and also have your tail waggling behind you, then you're gonna have to do something different. And what I mean by that is you're gonna instead have to do this. You're gonna have to make your model basically do this. You're gonna have to add a new parameter. And then you're gonna, so basically this. And then you're gonna go, like, let's say, yeah, see, look at all these great parameters. Let me see. Oh yeah, look, angry face, iOS, cheek puff is iOS only. Damn. Damn. Wow. Oh, my computer. Yeah, nice. So basically, you're gonna go in here and you're gonna import anything that you want to. And I think if you have it, interesting. I didn't know that this was that. Anyways, but both has, what the hell? But there's a lot of things in here. But I think you can set up your own parameters, and as long as you name them correctly, I think you can put them in here. Yeah, and then you just put output. Huh. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Wait, I just realized something. Wait. Oh yeah, see how like auto breath is? See that it's doing this? You can do auto breathing. So you can basically automate it to make it wiggle back and forth. So let's say that we want auto blinking. Okay, yeah. So so how I know exactly how you're gonna make your tail wiggle. You're gonna make it like how the breath works. You're gonna make it do a few different keyframes. So you're gonna go into LIVE2D and you're gonna basically make it a bunch of keyframes to wiggle back and forth. If you want it to wiggle back and forth. And you're gonna have it cycle through that. So it will be 0 to 1 that it will cycle through. And then when you bring it in here, you're going to add a new parameter. You're going to put output parameter as that parameter. You're going to say, you know, you're going to name it the parameter that you want it, and you're going to put that as the output. And then all you got to do is do auto breathing, and it will cycle through between it the same way that it does up here for auto breath. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it, Fox. And then you can have your animated eyes on and your tail wiggling at the same time. Because it isn't an animation for your tail. It is, you're turning on an animation on your face for an expression, because this should only be used for expressions. Or if you're doing something of a movement. That means like you're putting your hand on your hip, or you're changing your pose in some sort of way, then it's for that. That's like it. This is to move or change something. But a wiggle, that'll be your constant kind of state, then you're going to need to do this way. I hope that explained it, because now I know how to do that, and now I know what I need to do if I have a person that needs a wiggly tail. The more you know. That also does mean that you can make a whole bunch of parameters for a whole bunch of different reasons. But yeah, so that's how you do it. I hope I explained it enough. But anyways, so if you're going to be exporting out for doing an animation for your face or something like that, you're going to say export motion file. Now then, if you're doing it for a video or an animation, okay, so let me explain this. If you're going to be doing an animation, you want a clean, like, you know, a transparent background and you want it to be a clean animation, and transparent, you're going to need to do a still image sequential number. This just is what in my industry of 3D art, this is what we call baking. Be okay if I DM on Discord? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I will say, like, you know, please do ask me before you DM me. Uh so yeah, you can. I will say I might, if I do start getting bigger, I might be like, please nobody DM me. I don't want to deal with a shit ton of DMs. So yeah. And the other way is if you're making, now you can export out as a video if you don't care, but if you have like stuff that's glowing and all of that stuff, do a sequential image, please. Unless you have like background stuff and all of that sort of things. Like I have a new starting soon screen that I did all in here. And like that has no problems. But the reason it has no problems is because it's a video and there's a whole bunch of things. But mainly, people do GIF animations for anything. Same character, my tail, what? No. What's this? Oh my gosh. Sorry, Jose sent me something stupid as per usual. Hey, let me see. Oh, wait a minute. I do not see your tail. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you want your tail to like wiggle back and forth. So, oh, I see. Yeah, basically do that. Yeah, yeah. Basically, how you have it is basically how you're supposed to do it. Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, sorry. I was just like, wait, where's the tail? Oh, it's down there. Yeah, but so yeah, all those keyframes are great. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it. It's just like I think the way that they were thinking that you were gonna have it is that then you weren't gonna do any animated expressions. But the way of how it is in here is you just again do the thing like I showed you. You just no, still clicking on the wrong thing. Just go in here and just add here and you just put output parameter and you just click on basically the only thing you need to click on is you need to click on tail. And then everything else should follow. As long as you have your physics all set up correctly, it should be fine. And then you just turn on auto breathing and it will cycle between that. So it'll be a loop. It'll be a loop cycle. And that should work. You can test, you could, if your model is already out in Live2D, you can go in here and you can test it really quickly. Right. Wait, do you have parts to your tail? Wait, why, why, why are there so many tails? Why are there 3? Are you like turning into a 9-tailed? Holy shit! I'm joking. What do all the tails mean? Might be lol. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Uh. Anyways, also, by the way, if you this is okay, so you might be like, how do you make a keyframe in here? Literally just go to wherever you want and then just edit something. And there you go. Your keyframe's automatically put there. You don't have to do anything. And in order to delete it, you can hold down control and just delete it. Or you can hold control and you can add a keyframe. You don't need to, but yeah. Never deleted my old tales. Oh, okay. Hey, you know what? Backups. Backups are good. Uh anyways, that's it. That's all I can teach you. Um just have fun and experiment. Oh, I will say one thing. When doing animation, do not touch any of this. Do not touch this or this. Unless you're doing some crazy ass shit, don't touch it. Please don't. I've made that mistake and I fucked up something and had to redo it. But yeah. Please don't do that. um anyways, so when you export stuff out, just whatever. You can export it as a video, but just be careful. You will not have transparency. These videos, if you have a transparent background, they will not export out as transparent. So I would say do still image sequential number, and you're going to get something clean, and then you can compress it down into a video or do whatever you want with that. So, just so you know. But anyways, without further ado, let's go over to Q&A and we'll talk a little bit. So let me just exit out of here. I'm just going to say no, no, and no. We do not need to save anything because we did not do a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah. But so yeah, without further ado, that's pretty much it. And I guess I'll end the recording for YouTube because we're probably going to be sitting here talking for a bit. And I know you people on YouTube, you got other better stuff to do. So to all of you watching on YouTube, oh, here, let me just turn the music down a little bit. For all those watching on YouTube, if this is the first video of the LIVE2D crash course you were seeing, please go and check out all the other LIVE2D crash course. I have a whole entire YouTube, I have a whole entire playlist for you to go and check out. I will be putting also links to some people down in the description below for like if you want to do your own research on LIVE2D crash course or on LIVE2D and do even further stuff. That'll all be linked down in a YouTube in the description of the YouTube video. I almost choked on my own spit there. But yeah, so I will want to say for YouTube, thank you all so much for watching, and to you on YouTube, I want to say thank you all so much for watching, and as I always say, may the winds guide you until next time. Bye!